All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Lynn Kinst. I'm the Executive Director of the Hemophilia Council of California. We want to welcome you to our Advocacy and Policy webinar. Tonight's topic is Speak My Language, Understanding Health Insurance.
Then it's, where can I obtain a private plan? This is a good question because back in the day, I can tell you, my kids are 32 and 27. If I had tried to apply for a private plan, it took on average less than 10 minutes for me to get a reply back that said denied. They can't do that anymore. They can't deny you for a plan. But there's a couple different places to obtain a private plan. Like I said, it can be job-based or employer-sponsored. And there's two different types within an employer-sponsored situation. One is what I said to you earlier, a self-insured plan. This is a type of plan where the employer themselves, they collect the premiums, they take on the responsibility of paying the employees and their dependents' medical claims. And they'll typically hire what they call a third-party administrator or a TPA, because there's that acronym too. They will hire someone like that, like an Anthem, like a Blue Cross, so that they can use their networks. As I said, those companies can help do all of the administrative work for them, the enrollment process, the claims processing. Although some health plans do choose to be self-administered, but I think that's a very small number. The other thing to remember about self-insured plans, remember when I said not all plans are created equal? Self-insured plans are not required to comply with state insurance policies or state insurance rules or regulations for the most part, nor are they required to offer all 10 categories of essential health benefits. If you remember, one of the big things about the Affordable Care Act was that there was going to be certain services that would be covered as essential health benefits. Now, again, I'm going to say the devil's in the details. What is covered within each of those 10 essential health benefits can vary by state. But for example, the 10 essential health benefits were outpatient services, emergency services, hospitalization, maternity and newborn care, mental and behavioral health, prescription drugs, medical and durable supplies, lab services, wellness, chronic disease coverage, and pediatric services. Let me give you a good example of what I mean by the devil's in the details. Is let's take mental and behavioral health. If you or someone has ever tried to access mental health services through a health plan, you will find that sometimes that's very difficult. It's very difficult typically because they don't have enough providers within their network. There's the added, out-of-pocket costs. But typically it's a lot of times a waiting game to get into mental health services. So technically they cover it, but it may not be the way we would feel like it's covered. If it's going to take me 3 months to get in to see a doctor, I don't feel like that's really a covered expense. But just so you know, those are the 10 essential health benefits, and they are not required to provide those. Many do, but I will tell you about a practice when we get further into this, a practice for you to be watching for, to where some are starting to exclude certain prescription drugs, which is going to be very important for you to know. The other option for an employer plan is a fully insured plan, and that's where they just go to an Anthem or a Blue Cross and they say, you know what, here's how many employees we have, here's how many dependents we have, here's kind of our insurance experience. What will you charge to provide coverage? And they choose from one of the plans that health plan may have available. And that is actually the health plan taking the risk, not the employer. So you have that. And then you have Covered California, the Health Exchange Marketplace. And this is the government agency that offers subsidized health plans for California residents. So again, not everybody who goes into the marketplace qualifies for a subsidy, but if you're going to get a subsidy, It's going to have to be through a plan that you get through the marketplace. And then the private health insurance market. Again, you could reach out directly to a health plan. I mean, you've all probably seen those ads on the internet where you can go and request a quote. I will tell you to beware when you're doing that. Many of those plans may be non-ACA compliant plans. And what I mean by that is sometimes we would call them catastrophic plans, skinny plans, or temporary health plans. What that means is they're really designed to cover something in a catastrophic situation. And even then it's very limited. I'll give you a good example of I used to find that a lot of hospitals or fast food organizations would offer these types of skinny health plans for their employers. And I had a friend who, unfortunately, her son was shot and ended up in intensive care. She'd been working for the same employer for 10 years, thought she had health insurance and had one of these plans. And they said, you have 2 days in the intensive care, that's it. And nothing else was covered for her. And so you always will want to look when you see these plans, because I always get people to call me, hey, I can get this plan for $200. And I'm like, okay, let's look for the small print, because you will see at the bottom, it'll say something like, this is not intended as a health insurance plan. It's some coverage. You know, it doesn't say it's some coverage, but it'll say it's not a health insurance plan. That is your clue that that is not fully a full health insurance plan.
Want to thank our sponsors as well, who make this webinar series possible. And just thank you again, Michelle, for joining us tonight, for all the great information. And thank you all for sticking with us as we went a little over tonight. I hope that you found it helpful. Please do reach out to the council if you have any follow-up questions regarding your individual situation. We will do our best to connect you with the right people who can assist. I can always reach out to Michelle, and then we have great relationships with the folks at NHF and HFA, and the links that we talked about tonight, we will be sure to send out in our follow-up email as well. And the video will be available after we do a little bit of editing. So also wanted to thank briefly or say congratulations to Angel and Liz. Those are the community members who won our raffle tonight. So we'll be reaching out to you guys about those gift cards. And again, thank you all for joining us. And thank you again, Michelle.
No problem. Thank you. Everybody
have a good night, everyone.